Hi, and welcome to the weekly general love reading. So, we're just going to be looking at the next 7 days, okay? And we're going to be looking at what's in store for you in love, okay? We're going to be reading for couples and singles and everything in between, okay? And we're just basically going to be looking at if you have an interest, what's going on with your person, what to expect, and all of that kind of good stuff. Dynamics, hopefully make some predictions and just kind of give you, an idea of what to look forward to and what to avoid and all of that kind of stuff in the next 7 days. I post these every Friday. So if you want to go ahead and subscribe, if you're not subscribed already, just know that you'll get these every week, okay? In addition to my general readings on Mondays and my pick a card readings as well. So that said, everything you need to know about me is in that description, all right? Don't want to waste any more of your time. Let's go ahead and get on this. Okay, so pile number 1 is the blue Lapis Lazuli. Pile number 2 is the white Opalite. Pile number 3 is the black Obsidian. Pile number 4 is the pink rose quartz. Pile number 5 is the purple fluorite. And pile number 6 is the bloodstone. So I don't know why. I just feel like it's really important that I hold this up for you guys. So maybe somebody needs to see it. But this is what the bloodstone looks like. Okay? So hopefully you have already made your decision about which pile you're going to pick. If you have not, go ahead and pause the video, because otherwise we are about to start with the Lapis Lazuli number 1. Okay? Hi, those of you who picked the blue Lapis Lazuli, here is your reading. Okay, so we have community. All right, we have the devil, we have the ace of cups, and we have the hermit. Okay, looks like an important week. All right, we have the letter followed by the mountain, and then we have helpless and hopeless. Okay, so we've got a lot of stuff going on this week. Some of it's going to kind of be a little bit contradictory, but just know that, this does tell a story that makes sense to me, at least. Okay, so for those of you who've been looking for communication, it's not going to come this week. Or important communication isn't going to come this week. You might be communicating well with your person, or you might be hoping that you'll meet somebody soon, and hopefully it'll be this week. I'm just getting for this particular pile, it's just not very likely, because we have the letter, but it's being blocked by the mountain, and the mountain's is a pretty big thing to overcome. Okay, unfortunately, this leaves us in the kind of 8 of Swords energy of being helpless and hopeless, kind of like feeling like I don't know what to do, that kind of feeling, and like analysis paralysis and just overthinking things and just going around and around and all of that. I'm just getting that that's going to be the general energy of the week, and I really don't like that for you guys, because it's not a fun place to be in, but I think that this serves a good purpose, and the purpose it serves is that it really causes you to focus in on your own inner light, okay? And that's what is really important right now. You need to focus, like, according to cards, okay? I'm not going to tell you what you do and do not need. But the cards are saying that you need to kind of look within and find what's true for you. What's the most important thing for you? What do you value? And this is going to affect the love energy in your life, okay? You will notice that the better able you are to define exactly what you want, the more the outside world is going to be a mirror for that, okay? The problem or the obstacle this week is just you're not going to start seeing manifestation of that until next week, okay? So it's not that you're not doing anything productive this week, it's just that you're still working on building a foundation for better things to come. With the devil, it's just warning towards excess. I don't feel like this comes with it as strong of a. Sometimes the devil can be a very strong negative influence, and it could really it can really kind of shake up a reading. But I feel like the devil is talking about, you know, not giving in to excess. That means excess. We've got community here, excess socializing, and the same is not excess withdrawing either. Just know that both of these energies are important this week for you, okay? Your own personal feedback and feedback from others. That can be kind of difficult too. I just want to mention, because for me, it's not that I don't want to listen to others. I love listening to others and all of that. It's just that I have such a strong sense of what is best for myself that sometimes that can become a blind spot for me. And I know that sometimes it's important to look to other people for more wisdom than I could ever come up with on my own, right? So I just wanted to share that this struggle is something I deal with myself. And it can be kind of, it can be like stuck energy. Like that's what this is stuck energy. When we get this card, it's such a negative thing to read helpless and hopeless, right? But that doesn't mean that you are helpless. It doesn't mean that you are hopeless or that the situation is hopeless. It just means that this is the energy around you that's like, it feels this way, okay? And again, it comes from analysis paralysis. Like when you're thinking about something so much that you just kind of wrap yourself up in it, and it's like you're binding yourself, right? And then we've got the Ace of Cups, which is really nice because this little this is almost like a little glimmer of hope at the end, but it's, you know, I really shouldn't say little because it's not so small. I understand that we've got the Devil and the Hermit, and those are both major arcana cards, but the Ace of Cups is a big card. It's an important card. It's showing that a new love cycle is going to begin in your life very soon. This is going to be more towards the end of the week, though. It's not going to be so much the bulk of the week. And it'll probably go into the next one too. But in the next 7 days, I would say by day 6 or 7, you're going to start feeling something new. And this could be a new person. It could be a new level of your relationship. Okay. But I'm not getting a whole lot of, like positive, like I don't get a whole lot of positive, communication interaction, but I am getting positive feelings here. One thing that can happen sometimes when we're in a situation, and let's say there is somebody that you have, like you have your person and all of that. When we have weeks like this, it can sometimes feel like maybe we're being abandoned, or like the person doesn't care, or like maybe they're not as present or they're not as plugged in. And I just want to mention that for this group, if you start feeling that from your person, understand that it's not so much that they don't care, that they're not plugged in. It's that you need to be plugged into yourself. You need to be plugged into the community, and that kind of stuff. There's something about reaching this balance. It's going to bring better things for both of you. And again, you know, as far as what you need or don't need to do what you want. I'm just saying that, you know, this week would be a lot easier if you just really focus on what it is that you want in your relationships. I really feel like this is something that's going to end up paving the way for so many weeks to come for you, that it's really it can be a really monumental week in the fact that it's going to influence a lot of, you know, for months, is in just that it's about setting intentions, but it's like, it's the phase right before you set the intentions. You've got to figure out what you want before you know what you want to go after. And again, it's true for singles or couples in this particular in this particular reading. I do want to say, with the community and the Hermit card coming up, I feel like there's a little bit of a balancing effect with the community here, letting us know that you might be prone to being reclusive. And right now, it's like, at least reach out and do something that involves the community or involves other people. And if you don't know what to do, you know, we have a Discord server now for the MomentsAre community, and that might be something that you could do. I mean, just join the Discord server and that's it. You know, it's a chat. For those of you who don't know what Discord is, I know I've recently become aware of Discord, so so I just wanted to mention that. But, you know, regardless of what the cards say, I think that you are going to have a more productive week when it comes to love than what it might look like on the surface. It's just when we're getting messages, it's like, this is not going to happen. This is not going to happen. You know, that kind of stuff. It can feel like, oh my goodness, well, there's so many restrictions on what's possible this week, right? But it's like this Ace of Cups is there for a reason. There's something new that's coming forth. It's going to spring forward out of your heart, and metaphorically, and it's going to bring so much love and energy in your life that it's going to really start transforming the situation to one that doesn't feel so stagnant. So do keep that in mind. I would say just know that even if you decide to send some messages or reach out to a person that you're interested in or whatever, if you don't hear back from them, just know that there's a good reason why. You know, we don't get a block for a bad reason. You know, there's some reason why they can't reply, and the block doesn't necessarily have to mean that your person doesn't want to talk to you. The block could be something like they've lost their internet service and they can't email you back for something, you know, or something like that. So do understand that this could be out of your person's control. So keep that in mind as well. That said, I hope you have a wonderful love week, and I will see you next week for more pick a card readings. Hi, those of you who picked the white opalite, here is your reading. So we have embracing. Okay, we've got this 10 of swords here, but we also have justice, and we have the emperor. Oh my goodness, this is a really positive reading. We have the heart, followed by the lady, and we have balance. So we actually have a situation where this energy is becoming corrected. And in order for us to know, well, what is being balanced, what is being made fair, what is going to be controlled, you know, all of that kind of stuff. What do we need to embrace? We needed this card to tell us. I feel like you've been kind of in a situation where it's almost like you've held up the relationship, or that you have done so much more work than maybe your person. And for those of you who are single, it just feels like just like an overload of energy. It's like you're just done. But it's not just that. It's like you're hurt because you haven't gotten back to you what you've put out. And generally, and I don't mean that, and again, I want to be very clear here, I'm not talking about people that just do things to get something in return, you know. I feel like the people that chose this pile are in general pretty genuine and, and pretty generous. Gosh, that's embarrassing. Pretty generous people though. And I don't believe that it's one of those situations where it's all like, I give and give and you don't ever give back. It's not so much like that. I feel like it's more like you're giving and you're depleting yourself, and it's not repairing. So there's a part of this that has to do with self-love, okay? And that's really important. Self-care, let's put it that way, because that's a little bit more easy to grasp. You know, we're talking about taking a spa day, for example. I know that's something I like. Reading a nice book, just kind of taking a break and pampering yourself. For some people, it's as simple as painting their nails, but basically something like that. You've got two major arcana cards here, so we know this is going to be a pretty big week, okay? You've got a third one with this particular deck, this would be temperance, with a little bit of this and that. We've got a nice balancing energy here. So I do want to mention, with justice, we're talking about things becoming more fair, like like your person or the universe is going to start giving you back some of the stuff that you feel like you've depleted of, okay? Part of that is you're giving it back to yourself, but another part of it is it's just starting to come back towards you. Another thing is that there's like some area where you're feeling, where you've been feeling really out of control, and it's like you're going to be able to control the situation a lot better. Generally, when I see the Emperor, I like to mention, just because it's so important, there's some things that we just can't control. They're just out of our control. Like, we can't control other people, what they think and feel and what they're going to do. We can't control, I mean, there's so many things that we can't control that it's almost like a relief to know that, you know, wow, that's not my job to control that, right? But at the same time, it can be scary to realize how much we don't have control over. I feel like in this particular case, this is something that you have lost control over in your personal life that is affecting love. And that this control coming back, or are you tapping back into the ability to do that, comes from giving yourself that pampering energy and understanding that you have the ability to heal yourself this way. And by healing yourself, you're bringing that love energy back into your life. Also understand that it's just the timing is right now for this kind of feeling of being more in control. It feels very empowering, you know. The Emperor is a very powerful figure too, but it feels very empowering. It feels very just and right. And it definitely feels balancing. So yeah, that's the kind of energy we're talking about here. And then we're also, like, your advice card here is embracing. So just really embrace what feels good to you this week, with keeping in mind you've got to have some balance there. Embrace what feels good to you, because it's like you really need that personal, you just really need to give to yourself this week. And then over here we've got like this little nice commentary. It's like, and also we've got love, okay, of the lady, love of the feminine aspect of this relationship. I understand people of all genders watch this, and I want to be inclusive, let's put it that way. But in this deck, we have the feminine and the masculine cards, okay? So we're talking about feminine principle. If you're the feminine principle in your relationship, okay, if you're the one that is more female or more feminine, just know that love is coming to you this week. Someone or something is going to be giving you a lot of love in addition to your own work. If you are more of the masculine presence in your life, just know that it's important as you are balancing yourself out and giving of yourself, it's also important to kind of have that, any kind of overspill, to give to that feminine person in your life, or feminine energy. Give that to that feminine energy in your life, and it's most likely it's going to be your person. For those of you who are single and don't have a feminine person in your life, that's a love interest, then just celebrate the feminine aspects, creativity, sensitivity, and that kind of stuff. Celebrate that and give a lot of love to that idea. Okay. But that's what's coming here for, basically for the ladies that are watching this. You're going to be receiving love, not just from yourself, but from somebody else as well. All right. Regardless of what the cards say, I hope you have a beautiful love-filled week, and I will see you next week at the next pick a card reading. Hi, those of you who picked the Black Obsidian Heart, here is your reading. So we have Wisdom is your advice card. We have the Seven of Wands. We have the Hierophant. And we have, unfortunately, the Five of Pentacles. Okay, we have the Clouds followed by the Birds. And we have Take the Lead. Interesting. Okay. So I feel like I'm just getting, I'm getting a different kind of interpretation of this, and I just want to make sure that it's right. Okay, I feel like you were left out of something, but this isn't like being left out in the cold so much. Like sometimes when I think about this card, I feel like I think about neglect and being left out in the cold and that kind of stuff. It's not like that with this particular card this for you guys. It's like you were left out of knowing something that maybe your person knew, that would have been something you wanted to know, okay? Or would have been something you wanted to do. Like, for example, this might come up as like, maybe your person went somewhere and, you know, had a lot of fun, like, I don't know, watching a movie. Let's pretend like your person went out. I don't even know if theaters are open right now, but let's pretend like your person went out to the theaters with their friends and they watched a movie, and it's like, hey, I would have liked to have been involved. You know, I really wanted to know what was going to happen in that movie. I was really interested in that. Or maybe your person even goes to a class or something like that. You know, I just feel like you've been left out of something, or you're going to be left out of something this week. And so it's like, be aware. If you do have a person, let your person know that that you want to make sure, like, that you want to be more included in their life, okay? Because I think that your person is not meaning to leave you out. I think that your person just generally wasn't thinking. Like, I don't, it's weird because I'm talking about a future event in the past. It's funny. But like, I feel like if your person, like when your person does this, or if your person leaves you out of something, understand that they're just thinking about who's with them at the moment, or who they're going to go see it with, and they're not, like, I'm pretending it's a movie, and it's like they're not thinking so much about you, and it's not because they're neglecting you or because they don't care about you. It's just because they don't even think that maybe you would want to be included in this, okay? So kind of keep that in mind. There's also something you're supposed to be preparing for in love this week, which is really interesting. Sometimes this card can come up and feel defensive, like there's some kind of like defensive energy. I would imagine if you're the kind of person that does end up, you know, finding out that you missed out on something, you know, that you would feel a little defensive, like, well, hey, don't I matter? You know, that kind of thing. But I feel like this is more about planning something in the future, or being prepared for something. But it's not like a foreboding feeling. It's more like just, you know, I'm on top of things. I've got things ready, you know, that kind of thing. And just make sure that you're remembering everything, you know, and all of that. I feel like you might overlook something, because this guy, you know, he's so prepared, but look at his feet. He doesn't have he's wearing a sock on one and he's wearing a boot on the other. So it's like he's forgot his boot. You know, come on, guy. But it's like that, you know, you're wanting to be prepared and that kind of stuff, and you might forget your shoe. Just make sure you are wearing your shoes out if you're going out, you know, that kind of thing. But you know, discernment and wisdom is something that is going to be a key for you this week when it comes to love. Okay, so you are going to be you're going to be kind of on the ball when it comes to like being able to read situations and being able to figure out what other people are thinking and feeling in a situation. Understand, be careful about assuming, but at the same time, you are going to be very perceptive. Some of you might have gotten the pile from Monday that was talking about being more perceptive as well. And those of you, you're just basically double perceptive this week. With Take the Lead, there's going to be, you know, some times this week where it's going to be more appropriate for you to take the lead, and that might feel uncomfortable. I'm not telling you to do anything that you don't feel comfortable doing, but just know that you will be rewarded. And I mean, this will be positive if you do take the lead in some kind of situation in the future. In this week with your person. This is also kind of speaking out to those of you who are single that might be feeling attraction towards somebody, that it's okay to, you know, maybe make eyes at them or smile at them, or just saying, hey, you know, and just have that be it, you know, that kind of thing. It just feels like it's really safe to express yourself this week. So don't sell yourself short, regardless of what camp you're in. Don't sell yourself short and not express you know, some like feelings, especially when it comes to attraction, and that kind of energy. Unfortunately here we also have some like confusion, but it's like the confusion's at the beginning of the week, and then it's going to move on to being a lot more clear, you know, because we've got the, you know, the where the clouds are matter in this, you know, and so we've got the clouds, like the light is facing this next card, right? So this is in the past and this is moving forward. Okay, so you're going to be confused like maybe for the first 3 days, okay? But then things are going to come to light, and it's because people are talking. People are talking too much. But other people are going to be giving you the information that you're confused about at the beginning of the week. So that'll be interesting to see how that works. Sometimes the birds refer to Twitter, which I think is kind of funny because they tweet, right? You know, I personally have never read it that way, but I like to point that out when I see the birds because I just think it's funny. So maybe you will gain clarity on Twitter if you do if you spend a lot of time there, you know. But, you know, again, like I said, it just feels like kind of all over the place here. You know, there's this kind of like fear of missing out here. Just understand that you can still make it here. You know, this isn't like set in stone. It feels like this could be something you could change this week. Okay. It's like you're getting prepared for something that has to do with creative energy in your relationship. You know, make sure to remember your shoes. In this one, it's like it's okay to take the lead, you know, especially if it has to do with attraction, okay? That kind of fiery emotion, the kind of passion that comes with love energy and everything. There's going to be something about this week where you're going into it a little confused. It's like you need clarity about your person, or you need clarity about love in general, that kind of stuff. And it's going to come to you about after maybe like 2 or 3 days. Okay, that's when it's going to be coming. And then your focus card this week is wisdom. And I think that it's coming up because you are going to be very perceptive. You are also going to be applying wisdom. And you're going to be, there's a word that I'm looking for here. Discernment. That's what it is. You're showing a lot of discernment in, you know, how you're just going about your life this week. Okay. So this actually looks, I mean, it looks like a very full week, but it also looks like you've got some very positive things, especially by the end of the week. All right, guys, you know, regardless of what the cards say, I hope your week is full of love, and I look forward to seeing you on my next pick a card reading. Hi, those of you who picked the pink rose quartz heart, here is your reading. So we have diligence. Okay, and I'm already getting with this one that diligence is a good word, but persistence might be a better one for you guys. I know this deck, and I don't think persistence is in here. No, it's not. Diligence is the closest to it. So I'm kind of feeling like persistence is more important this week for you guys. Okay, we've got the Queen of Swords. We've got the Fool. I'm going to go ahead and put the Fool here just because it's a major arcana. Queen of Swords, and then we've got the Three of Pentacles. Those of you who got this for Monday's reading, for those of you who watch all of my videos, this is kind of like double energy, okay? We've got the Child followed by the Bear, okay? And then we have Success and Growth. So you have a lot of really positive stuff coming from this particular like in this area for you. Okay, those of you who have a relationship, it feels like your relationship is really progressing a lot, and you're feeling like you're feeling like I'm trying to think of the best word here. You're feeling like just everything, like any kind of problems that have been kind of like little knots. This is a visualization I'm getting, okay? It might seem silly, but this, I mean, sometimes I get visualizations and I'm supposed to describe them. So, so I'm seeing like a hose. If you don't live in a place where you use hoses very often, then you might want to think of like a ball of yarn, okay? And like there's these little knots that are making it difficult to use the hose. And it's like this week, all of those kinks are going to be like let out, and then everything's going to flow really, really smoothly. Okay, so that's the metaphor I'm getting with this success and growth. For those of you who are single, just know that this is going to be a really great work to start a new relationship. Okay, so just know this week somebody new might come into your life. Okay, because I'm getting several things that are indicating new new love and new energy, in fact, that goes for everybody, new energy of love is coming in. This diligence is like, it's kind of like reassuring you that whatever work you've been putting into this, just keep doing it, because you're doing the right things right now. It's almost like don't give up right before it's going to happen, that kind of thing. So kind of keep that in mind. With the Fool, we've got a new journey starting for you. And this doesn't mean necessarily that it has to be with a new person. Those of you who are in relationships right now, it can just mean like a new cycle is starting. Okay. So you have, it feels like this card is really amplified for me when I'm looking at this week for you guys. This new journey here is going to be really impactful on you when it comes to the way that your perspective is when it comes to love. It almost feels like an aspect of your own personal attitude towards love is shifting in a way where you're feeling more trustful. And I think that for some of you, you're realizing that some of the things you weren't trusting before were actually worthy of your trust, which is an interesting one, because typically when we don't trust something, it's our intuition's right, typically, but it feels like this was more not an intuitive type of mistrust, but more of an intellectual mistrust. Okay. So yeah, it's like you can trust the situation, but something new, like you're going to be starting a new cycle. This is a good time for new love. Right now, you're being called on to be aware of both your head and your heart. Okay, it's really important that they're both aligned. Not necessarily because you have like some major imbalance or anything like that. It's just showing that it's important that you are aware of how your head and your heart are aligned when it comes to love in general, okay? And for those of you who reflect on that and you find that, wow, they're not really that aligned, take that as a call to look into, well, what are my thoughts? And then what are my feelings? What do I value versus what do I prioritize? And let's put some congruence there, okay? Because it's like that's where you're most successful, okay? We've got the Three of Pentacles coming up. For those of you who didn't see, this past Monday for the weekly general, we got this card as well for one of the piles. And it's just showing us that you're going to be getting some positive feedback when it comes to love, okay? And I feel like this is going to be coming from either a love interest, your partner, or if you're single, somebody new that could be a potential really good person in your life when it comes to love, okay? And I feel like it's in relation to this diligence. It's almost like people are going to start responding to you. It doesn't necessarily have to be responding as in critiquing. It could just be a response to this diligence, because, in the Three of Pentacles, we've got this guy, he's been working, and these people are giving him that feedback. So it's like you're getting a response here. Again, we've talked about the success and growth. Just know that this is going to be a week that, like, if you've got to talk to your person about something that's kind of, maybe you're not looking forward to talking about or whatever, this is a week to do it, because you're going to have more success this week. And there's going to be so much of an opportunity, not only for personal growth, but also for growth between you and your person. Also for growth in your love life in general. So keep that in mind. Again, with the with the Child and the Bear, we have basically the same energy with the Fool and the Queen of Swords, okay? We have new energy, something new. We also have something innocent, which is the same with the Fool. The Fool is innocent. The Fool trusts almost blindly like a child does, you know? But it's okay to trust. It's like that's appropriate too. It's okay. And then we've got this typically feminine figure, like the Queen of Swords, that represents a lot of power. You know, she's got a sword. Wow. You know, but this doesn't have to necessarily be this force that is a force to be reckoned with so much. It can be the force that you conjure up yourself in your own feminine power, or if you are by gender a male, or I want to say I respect all gender fluidity. I just want to make sure that you understand this is like feminine energy being used with your head and your heart basically as well. But it's like a very powerful combination here when you have that feminine principle combined with the more masculine principle of a sword, of moving forward, of, you know, and that kind of stuff. So it's like a marriage of that, you know, becomes like this kind of mama bear type figure, you know, but it's almost like exactly a mirror of this. So I just really want to stress how important it is to make sure your head and your heart are aligning and all of that kind of good stuff this week. It looks like a really, really good week for love for you. So I'm really thrilled that you guys are going to have a good one. I just wanted you to know, regardless of what the cards say, I hope your week is filled with love. And I will see you again in my next pick a card reading. Thank you so much for watching. Hi, those of you who picked the purple heart, here is your reading. So we have inner peace. Okay, so we have you moving forward. Okay, we have this kind of money and material stuff playing a role. And then we have, how interesting. I think that there was another reading on Monday that had these two cards in it. So it's kind of tying in. If you got the same one, just know that this is just kind of like, it's doubling that energy basically. Okay, so we have the mice and the ship, and then we have well-deserved reward. Okay, so we've got some things that are really positive, and then we've got some things that are a little bit less, you know, happy necessarily. But the bottom line is this week you are going to be able to feel peaceful and content with what happens this week, okay? And if you reach a point anytime this week when it comes to love, whether it's between you and somebody who you're interested in, or you and a friend, or even you and a family member, understand that seeking that inner peace, you'll be able to get there a lot quicker than, say, maybe a usual week, okay? You're going to be able to find that inner calm a lot easier. It's very accessible to you right now. Let me start with this one, because I think that this will make more sense in context to this. So we have the ship, which is the ending one, okay? But we also have the mice. The mice take away from something, okay? So when I see the ship, especially when we're talking about love, I think of having a longing for someone or something. And this is like, it's diminishing though. You're not feeling as much of a longing. For some of you, that's because that person's back, or whatever you're longing for is coming into your life, and you see how that's working. For some of you, you're just becoming more okay with not having this, and accepting that there's something else that's better for you, okay? Now, the reason I think that for most of you, it's actually going to be, you're going to start seeing how this person or this thing that you've been longing for that has to do with love is coming back, is that you've got this well-deserved reward. And we also have the Chariot, which is about forward movement. It just feels so much like this longing is starting to manifest, okay? So it could be that the mice is more of more of a positive thing in your life right now, because it's taking away from that longing, because you don't have anything to long for, right? Or you don't have as much to. But either way, you've got this peace card coming in, which lets us know that you're going to be very calm this week. But we also have this well-deserved reward. Oh, I'm sorry. I want to make sure that I'm clear. You're going to be calm this week when it comes to love. Okay. I just want to mention that, you know, because sometimes we can get all sorts of out of sorts about other areas, but when it comes to love, because this is a love reading, you're going to be feeling very peaceful. And this well-deserved reward, I just feel like whatever you've been putting out is going to come back to you. Okay. And it's just going to feel really good, because it's going to feel good and fulfilling, and it's like you've got something that you needed, or at least that your soul needed at this particular moment, in order to really let you know, not just on an earthly level, but on a spiritual level, on a level that resonates throughout your whole body, that you really deserve a break when it comes to love, that you really deserve the best. You deserve this really amazing situation, okay? Because I really think that it's going to be like that kind of, like, I really feel like it's going to be that much of a big deal. With the Chariot here, again, we're talking about moving forward, but we're also talking about moving forward even though there's some dissonance. And when I say dissonance, sometimes it's really hard to hold two things in our hands at the same time. I'm going to use a really intense example because I feel like it's important for me to use this particular example. Sometimes people complain because I talk about myself, and I promise it's part of the channeling process, or whatever you want to call it. It's part of the intuitive process. There was a point in time, this was maybe about 5 to 10 years ago in my life, okay, where my uncle had he had a battle with cancer, and he had been doing so great, and then he found out that there was another tumor there, and it was brain cancer, and his prognosis was really not going to be fun, and he made the decision not to accept treatment, and instead to just live the rest of his life the way that he wanted to. And he did, you know, he made different kinds of plans and took different measures so that he could do that the way that he wanted to, right? So in one hand, I had, it's wrong to self-harm, or it's wrong to bring harm to yourself, especially if it's going to end with your life, you know, it's wrong to take a life. And then on the other hand, I was like, but it's okay for him to be able to have control over how the rest of his life is going to be lived, especially since, you know, it would be so miserable for him if the rest of his life was just more intensive chemotherapy, and then he was going to just not have a great prognosis anyway. And so I had both of these things, and it was really, it created a lot of dissonance in my life, because it was hard for me to have both of those beliefs and still make it be okay. You know, but then when we're dealing with an enormous force when it comes like death, right? And this wasn't just, I want to mention this uncle, he wasn't just, you know, an uncle somewhere that lived, you know, this person had actually lived with my dad for, I think, maybe 12 years before he ended up passing, right? So he had been a presence in my life, you know, he had been there. It wasn't like he was just some random uncle, right? So I just wanted to mention that when we move forward, even though we have cognitive dissonance, it's like we put aside that dissonance. I put aside the idea that this is right, but this is also right, and I don't really know. I put that aside so that I could focus on my uncle, and I could focus on his last weeks, you know, and all of that kind of stuff, and I could really, you know, deal with that process. And by moving forward, those two things, they started being able to like come together, and they are aligned now. So for me, it's like there are some cases where it isn't right to take a life. Most cases it isn't right to take a life. But everybody deserves to have the life that they want, right? And so we, so those don't have to be mutually exclusive. And that's what the Chariot's talking about, moving forward, even though we have two ideas, or maybe it's the head and the heart that don't agree, or whatever, that might not seem to line up right. But the movement forward in and of itself is what unifies those two things that feel so opposed. So we've got forward movement, even though the black and white thinking, okay? And then we have this time of abundance, but we're talking about love here. So we're not talking about just financial and material abundance. We're talking about just you are, again, it's like stuff coming back towards you, like with the well-deserved reward. It's like you are really, you're really getting like something that you deserve, but in a positive way. There's some people that are like, yeah, I hope they get what they deserve, but like, this is like a good deserved, whatever you're getting is just, it's going to feel like such a blessing. And then we have, I feel like this is more, kind of like, I'm trying to think of a good word for it. This is more like playful energy than it is like deceptive energy. Like sometimes this card can really talk about deception, and sometimes this card can talk about trickery, and it can even be a little jokey, but I feel like this is really playful energy. I don't feel like it's like harming anybody, but I feel like there's going to be some playfulness that is going to be involved. Just understand that, I would just basically say don't break the law and don't flat out lie to anybody. Okay. And as long as you're not doing that, you're good. Because I feel like this playful energy is something that you have lacked in your life lately, and that this playful energy needs to be coming out, and maybe your energy, like some people really don't like sarcasm, for example, and that's just the way that people have a certain sense of humor, so it can be perceived as like, ooh, I don't like that. But I just feel like you've got to be authentically your own playful, humorous self this week as well. So just understand that's okay. That's good. So in general, we have a really positive reading. It might seem at first that taking away from this boat energy, right, the longing, might not be so great, but it's actually a good thing, because you're not feeling that as much. And for some of you, I do want to say, especially with the Chariot in here, some of you, it's because you're moving on. And that is what's coming back to you, is that you've got something better, okay? But for a lot of you, it's because this is no longer something you long for, because you have it back, or you have a version of it back in your life so that you don't feel like you have a lack, okay? Alrighty, so regardless of what the cards say, I hope you experience a truly loving week. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you at my next pick a card reading. Hi, those of you who picked the Bloodstone that I felt like I really needed to share close up with you guys. So here is your reading. It's good. So we have Delight here. Okay, so this is your focus card on just really being just delighted with all the simple things. I feel like it's kind of like taking pleasure in the small things, right? I just noticed that somebody, this is going to be really weird and probably random, but I just noticed, and I think it was my son. My son has this weird habit of like taking things that, like he steals little trinkets, and it's weird. It's like I set up a small altar to help me experience some healing energy in my life, and I just noticed that he took my red candle off of my altar. I had seen him admiring it earlier, and I was like, I wonder what he's up to. He has that kind of weird energy about him, and I just noticed it, and it's like, I wonder where that is. I'm sorry. I just really, really wanted to say that. Maybe that was part of your reading. Either way, let's go ahead. We've got the Eight of Wands. We have the Three of Wands. So a lot of fiery energy in your love life this week, okay? And then we do have the Four of Pentacles. This can sometimes feel like you don't have enough, okay? Keep that in mind. You might feel a little clingy and you might feel a little needy this week. okay? But we also have the sun, and I'm sorry, let me turn that right side up. We have the sun followed by the whip and broom, and then we have feeling alone. I know I said that it was good, but just listen, you know, we've got this. So one thing that's really great about the sun when it comes to Lenormand is that regardless of what kind of cards are around it, the cards, it lightens the entire mood of the reading. Okay, it's almost like this is like a superpower card, right? So it brings lightness and positive spins, okay, on all of the different cards that we have out here. Okay, so with the whip and broom, this can sometimes talk about things that we do over and over again, things that feel tedious. Okay, this is talking about some kind of cycle you do over and over again, but it's going to be almost a blessing to you. For like you doing this is going to be a blessing for you. Okay, so some kind of tedium is you're gonna reach some kind of new level of understanding of yourself and of your love life and why it works the way it does or why it doesn't work the way it does, based on this sun shedding all of this light and wisdom onto your day-to-day grind, basically. We have this feeling alone card, yet we have the sun, which is talking about having this positive, calming alone time that's really productive because you really need to focus on yourself in some way. And you have just enough alone time to where you're able to really do some soul searching and really working on yourself. Those of you especially who are single, it's like evaluate what you want to manifest, because it's like you are in a lot of intuitive energy right now, and you are starting to align with getting to a place where you are going to be able to bring in that energy. It's almost like it's just a couple of weeks away. It's kind of like what I'm getting here. Again, delight in the small things, and I think you will have no problem finding a lot of small things to delight in, okay? It's kind of a stop and smell the roses feel, okay? And if you're like me, you really like the scent of roses, so that's a good one. Something's going to happen here in your love life that's going to be very fast. It's going to be fiery, it's going to be intense, and it's just going to happen really quick. But I actually feel like this is almost like a wake-up thing for you. It's like, again, just like this tedium becoming like somehow an enlightening experience, I feel like this is going to be an enlightening experience. I feel like this is kind of telling us there's some things that you can't prepare for, and that's okay because they come out better than you expect. And so I'm really getting that, as abstract as this card is, the way that I'm reading it, is that you are going to be experiencing a lot of goodness. And it's almost like you're experiencing it like 2 or 3-fold this week than maybe a normal good week, right? We also have this card that's talking about, this kind of waiting for something to return back to you, that kind of thing. And then we have this card here where it's like holding on. These two cards together can sometimes show an unhealthy attachment. But again, we've got the sun, and the sun is showing that it's okay. Whatever you've been holding on to, whatever you've been waiting for, it's okay. Because that's what you were supposed to do for whatever reason. For whatever reason, this was a wise choice to make. It was not an unwise choice to make. And because you held on to something, because you waited, you're going to end up getting that back to you, okay? So that's a really positive thing. One thing that I do want to mention that's a little bit less positive, but just to keep in mind, because I don't want you to be going through this whole week waiting for something to happen that maybe isn't going to happen until maybe next week. This is talking about it's going to come back. I feel like this is going to start showing itself this week for you, okay? So I do feel like you're going to be at a much better place later on this week as far as knowing that this is coming, right? but we do still have this feeling alone card. And even though it's a positive feeling alone, like getting that really much needed alone time and that kind of stuff, understand that this is what you're supposed to be focusing on when it comes to love. You're supposed to be focusing on self-care and that kind of stuff. And it's almost like, while you're focusing on this, all this other stuff's going to surprise you. Because again, with this 8 of Wands here, I'm getting it. It's like a surprise. It's coming out of nowhere, that kind of thing, you know, that kind of feeling. So, you know, what I'm getting here is just a really positive week for you guys. I would be really interested to know what this ends up representing for you guys. So if any of you want to tell me, maybe in comments, or if you don't feel comfortable leaving a comment and you want to send me an email, I would be really interested to know what it is that you've been repeating, like whatever cycle or whatever thing you've been doing every day that suddenly becomes something that you gain a whole lot of insight into when it comes to love, because it's just a really interesting combination of cards, and I'd be very interested to know like examples of what that ends up coming to be for you guys. All right, guys. So regardless of what these cards say, I hope you have a very, very loving week, and I will see you on my next pick a card reading. Thank you so much for watching.